Hi there, my name is Laura and welcome to another video. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to improve your riding and training, win more ribbons at your next horse show, or generally like other horsey related stuff, then remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any new information coming out. Today I'm going to share with you some information on how to get noticed by the judge in a good way for your next equitation class. Now stick around to the end because I'm going to give you some exercises that you can do to help improve your equitation and your riding. The photo today is supplied by Natalie. Thank you so much, Natalie, for sending in the photograph. Really appreciate it. It's an excellent photograph from the side. If you'd like to get your own position review, send me an email, thistleridge@hotmail.com. What is equitation anyway? Equitation is your riding ability. Equitation is the way you sit on that horse and the way you will ride it. It's a little different than the hunter, where the hunter is judging the horse and equitation is judging the rider. It's your style, it's your efficiency and your effectiveness and your security in the saddle. It's not just how you look, but it's how effective you are when you're sitting on that horse. Different than hunter, because a hunter is, if you're in a junior hunter class, pony hunter class, novice hunter class, that is judged on the horse. Equitation is judged on the rider. What is your first impression of this rider? And thinking of it as the judge would see, the judge has 2 minutes to make a decision and 8 jumps to make a decision of this rider in an equitation class. Okay, so you can see here from this photograph that Natalie has her heels right down. Her lower leg is secure around the horse's sides. And this is really important because that's the number one thing that the judge really wants to see is the rider will have his heels down, or her heels down, and the legs around the horse. And I want you to see and take a really good look at the way this rider has the legs around the horse. There's weight distributed on her stirrup, but her heels are down and the weight is coming down into her calves with the lower leg around the horse. And that's really important. You don't want to see the heels jammed down and forced down and forward away from the horse. This rider has the legs securely around the horse without pinching with her knee. There's equal gripping around her leg around the horse's side. There's no one part of her leg, her knee, gripping more than the other part. That's really important. Keeping your heels down is important because having your heels down is an anchor and the foundation of your jumping position. If your heels aren't down and the weight isn't coming down into your calf, that just means that you're not secure in the saddle. So what's your first impression of this rider? Does she look secure? Does she look like she knows what she's doing? Put it in the comments below what your first impression of this rider is. Now you can see by this rider too that she's got her eyes up, looking forward to the next jump. So this rider is looking forward, looking towards her next jump, looking towards the corner that she's going through, and that having your eyes up is really important because the horse can feel whether you're looking to the right or whether you're looking to the left, even though you may not realize it. But when you turn your head, you shift your weight slightly in the saddle and the horse can feel that. So keeping your head up, looking straight, looking where the horse is going, looking where you want to go is important. It's important because you can influence how the horse goes. If you're looking up, looking straight, the horse knows it's supposed to go straight, so it goes straight. But if you have a turn, if you have a rollback turn, if you have a turn at the end of the ring, turning your head will shift your weight that enough that the horse can feel it, and that will help you make your turn. Also, keeping your eyes up and your head up helps to keep your back flat, and that influences the overall feeling, the overall professionalism of your position. If you have rounded shoulders, that doesn't look very good. Keep your shoulders back and your back flat, and to do that, keep your head up. If I have my head up, just wondering if you can see that when I put my head down, my shoulders round. Another important thing that the judge really wants to see in the equitation class and the hunter classes too is a release. your hands pushed onto the horse's neck and a slight loop in the rein to allow the horse to jump and round its back, bascule over top of the jumps. You can see that this rider has her hands firmly pressed on the horse's neck. Do not do a floating release. A floating release is when your hands aren't on the neck but are floating above the horse's neck. Having a proper crest release allows the rein to be a little bit looped and allows the horse to stretch down and reach forward and use himself better over top of the jumps. If your reins are too short, or if you get left behind, or if you are floating your release, your upper body isn't supported, you may catch the horse in the mouth, and that's not a good thing. Now this rider has a straight line shoulder, knee, toe, which is really good for going over top of your fences. Straight line shoulder, knee, toe is really important because it helps you to stay in balance with your horse. If you get too far ahead, you load the horse's front end. They don't jump very nicely. If your shoulders are too far back, you get left behind and you weight the back end of the horse, which isn't good either. So this rider is in really good balance with her horse. Her shoulders over top of her knees, over top of her toes, and that's very important so that you can stay in balance with your horse. Really like that this rider's seat is over top of the seat of the saddle. Really important. Watch these videos next. They have a selection of position reviews, and you can see that some of these riders have their seat over top of the pommel of the saddle. If you look at this rider here, I'm just getting the photo up here. The seat is clearly over the middle of the saddle rather than over the pommel of the saddle. Let's contrast a couple of riders here. Riders here, you can take a look at these videos here where you can see that. I suggest you take a look at these videos next. The only comment I would have to say about this rider is that you can bring your shoulders back like 2 inches or something just to get a little bit more of a vertical line shoulder, knee, toe. If you look at this rider, get more of a vertical line, up and down line, shoulder, knee, toe over top of her fence. It's a very picky thing. She looks in really good balance, and it may be just when the photo was taken. If it was a split second before or a split second after, it may be a little bit different. So for this rider, I would like for her to now move on to the next level with her riding. She has a beautiful release, but this is the release that you would do if you were in a novice class so that you wouldn't get left behind or interfere with the horse's mouth. The classic release that you would like to do is have your hands in line with the horse. So there's a straight line elbow hand horse's mouth. I've outlined it in green here so that you could see it. Straight line elbow hand horse's mouth. So we'd like to have her hands drop down a little bit, and if her shoulders were back a little bit and her hands just on the sides of the horse's crest rather than on the top of the horse's neck, this would be just an ideal position for me. Now, we'd like to have the reins just a little bit looser so that her horse can reach a little bit more, and also, maybe she's not doing the release because he overjumps. She is going into an oxer, into a line, so maybe he's jumping in a little bit more. She's not wanting to give much of a release because he overjumps. I just can tell you from the picture that I'm seeing right here is that I'd like to see a little bit more loop in the reins so that the horse can use himself a little bit more. He's using himself nicely, but we'd like to see, as a judge, would like to see a looser rein so that there is more of a release. The other thing is to have her hands drop down a little bit more so her hands are out in front of her, bringing her shoulders back this much will help keep her hands out in front of her with her hands following along with the horse's mouth rather than resting on the horse's neck. She looks like a really competent rider, and so the next step for her would be to start using an automatic or following release and drop her hands down and follow along with the horse's mouth a little bit more. To help improve this rider or maintain this position, I recommend that you have a plan for your ride. Is having a schedule and a plan for each of your rides. So this means starting a journal, keeping a journal. If you know that your starting point is at this point and you want to get to this point, which is winning more ribbons and getting to more horse shows, It's all that space in between that you have to design and plan for. And if you don't have a plan, it's kind of like going on a road trip and not having a map or not having your GPS with you. You have to have a plan to get from point A to point B. And it's that route that you're following in between. If you want some help with that, if you want to help getting your schedule and your plan down, send me an email, thistleridge@hotmail.com. It's something that I can help you with. So getting a journal is really important. Start writing down the things that you're doing and get a plan. If you know that your horse show is next month, you're going to be doing the Handy Hunter class, and the Handy Hunter class is made up of tight turns, jumping off of corners, galloping to a fence, halting, walking through all the elements that are included in a Handy Hunter course. Design your program throughout the month to include all of those elements in your training program. Work with your coach, work with your trainer on that, and don't be afraid to push yourself a little bit, because once you get to the horse show grounds, it's going to be a little bit stressful for you and your horse, and you have to be able to handle that stress. And the horse has to be able to listen to you and know, okay, she's asking me to do something. Getting a journal, keeping a journal is really important, because you can write down your own tips and your own exercises that worked really well, and also exercises that didn't work so well or that you need to work on more. Also, you can include in your journal the way your horse felt, the way your horse reacted, the things that you did, and what happened when you did them. Also, when you have a journal, you can write down the exercises that you did, and you realize, jeepers, last week I did 5 jumping rides. Maybe I should work on my flat work a little bit more. And likewise, well, he felt a little sore in his left front leg. Well, that's because I had 5 jumping rides the week before. So keeping a journal is really important. I recommend it. And keeping on with this planning is planning your ride. So once you have your month planned out, plan each and every ride that you do. It doesn't have to be broken down for each minute and each second, but just say, okay, today I'm going to focus on transitions. I'm going to do these 3 exercises to work on my transitions. I'm going to trot 10 steps, walk 10 steps, trot 10 steps, walk 10 steps. And I'm going to do that for 10 minutes. That helps to give a focus to your ride. And when you ride with a purpose and ride with focus, your horse gets it. If you just kind of go around and around and round 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 in circles, the horse gets bored, you get bored, and they start thinking about other things like the plastic bag that may blow into the ring or the cat jumping on the kickboards. So this week, schedule your ride and put in the comments what you're going to schedule in your ride. Are you going to schedule 10 minutes of working without stirrups? Are you going to schedule 10 minutes of canter transitions or 10 minutes of lateral work? Put it in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys are working on. And the third thing that you have to consider when you're riding is doing off the horse exercises to help maintain your fitness. To help maintain your fitness and to help improve your fitness and help improve your strength and to get your body in tune with what you need to do. Do some off-horse exercises, and it may be walking, it may be running, it may be yoga, it could be going to the gym, doing some weight training. Any type of off-the-horse fitness you can include to help develop your muscles and strengthen your muscles that you need for riding. We expect a lot from our horses, so we should expect the same amount from our own selves. What are you doing to keep yourself fit? I recommend you look at these exercises up here. Look at this one next to help get some ideas of some exercises you can do. Here are my 3 top exercises for this rider to do. Get someone to lunge you on a quiet, suitable horse. Maybe your horse is good for it, I don't know. Ride without your reins, hands out at your side, slowly turning with your left hand pointing towards the horse's ears, and then slowly switch, left hand pointing towards the horse's tail, right hand pointing towards the horse's ears, and then slowly back again. This is a really great exercise to teach you, your body, control over yourself. So you can feel exactly how your body shifts and moves when you're turning your body this way and this way. Helps to keep you supple, helps to strengthen and develop your shoulders, and teaches you how to understand what your body's doing when you're riding. If you find that too difficult, or your horse doesn't like something close to his ears or close to his tail or whatever, put your hands on your hips and do the same exercise. Important to keep your shoulders square. You can see that when I did it. I dropped one of my shoulders down. See, I'm dropping this shoulder down. Oh, this one. Keep your shoulders level and keep the weight centered in the saddle. I'm watching myself. That's why my eyes are down there. Same thing. Along the same exercise is hands on your shoulders, hands on your head, hands on your hips, shoulders, and shoulders up front. Move your hands around so your upper body, your shoulders get stronger, and your upper body just have a little bit more feeling in your riding, rather than, you can look kind of mechanical in there, so keep your shoulders down. Think of touching your shoulders, touching your shoulders, hands out in front, touching your shoulders, hands up above, touching your shoulders, hands out at the side. Those types of exercises, really good when you're on the lunge rein. It looks like your leg is really secure. Riding without stirrups is an excellent exercise to help get a secure lower leg. Another really good exercise is to ride in your 2-point and include 10 minutes of 2-point riding in your regular riding training session. 2-point down the long side, for example, and then regular rising trot on the short side. Include 2-point position as part of your regular riding routine. Put it in your schedule, put it in your journal. My name is Laura, and if you'd like to improve your riding and training, win more ribbons at your next horse show, or generally like other horsey related stuff, remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon. See ya. Bye. Looks like she's in a horse show here. She's got a jacket on. Her horse is braided up beautifully. Her turnout is excellent. It's got an even, her saddle pad is showing evenly. I mean, her horse has turned out beautifully. Just love it.